Hi, I'm Cara Boatswain, the founder and editor of Australian Gluten-Free Life magazine. Today I'd like to explore one of the questions I often hear from readers. Can you eat oats on a gluten-free diet? If you've travelled overseas or purchased a gluten-free cookbook from a writer based outside of Australia, you may have been surprised to discover the popularity of gluten-free oats, especially when they aren't even available in Australia. However, that may be about to change, thanks to groundbreaking research from a team of international researchers, including those from Edith Cowan University in Western Australia, Australia's National Science Agency, the CSIRO, and the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research. Why aren't oats currently considered gluten-free in Australia and New Zealand? Oats are not related to gluten-containing grains like wheat and rye. Instead, they contain a protein called avenin, which has been found to produce a gluten-like reaction in some, but not all people with coeliac disease. In November 2014, researchers from the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research published findings from a 10-year project that studied 73 people with coeliac disease. The researchers were able to identify the key elements in oats that trigger an immune response in some people with coeliac disease. They found that only 8% of participants reported such a response after oat consumption. The other concern surrounding the consumption of oats on a gluten-free diet comes from the way it is harvested and processed. Most oat-based products available on supermarket shelves will have been cross-contaminated with grains containing gluten during harvesting, milling, and processing. While it is possible to purchase uncontaminated oats that have been labelled gluten-free in some countries, Food Standards Australia and New Zealand prohibit any form of oat being labelled as gluten-free in Australia or New Zealand. This is because it is not currently possible to test for the presence of gluten or the amount of the protein avenin. Consequently, oats that are grown and produced in an uncontaminated environment can only be labelled as wheat, rye, and barley-free. What's changed? The groundbreaking new research has decoded the genome of oats, which has allowed the researchers to better understand which genes are responsible for which traits. We discovered that oats have fewer of the proteins that correspond to gluten in wheat, causing an immune reaction from people with coeliac disease, explains the CSIRO's Professor Michelle Colgrave. This allowed us to confirm on both the gene and protein level that oats contain fewer protein sequences that are known to trigger food allergies and intolerances, she said. So what now for celiacs? Associate Professor Jason Dietien from the Walter Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research said that the study provides reassurance about the safety of oats for people with coeliac disease and brings us a step closer to seeing their safe inclusion in gluten-free diets. The findings from this study tell us that the genes encoding potentially harmful gluten-like sequences are infrequent, expressed at low level, and the sequences themselves less likely to trigger inflammation, said Associate Professor Jason Dietien. I hope you've enjoyed this short video. For the full story about gluten-free oats in Australia and New Zealand, visit our website www.agfl.com.au.